welcome back to Conversion Conversations. This is Cameron, and today I want to talk about some new Siege figures I picked up, Transformers Generations, War for Cybertron Siege Micromasters, the Wave 1 of the Micromasters line. Now, I don't have any nostalgia for Micromasters. I didn't grow up with them. I didn't grow up with Micro Machines, but they are cool little cars and planes and tanks, and I figured, at the price point, let me pick them up and see how they work. So forgive me as I try and keep this name straight. We have three halves of the G1 patrol teams is the way I understand it. Each Micromaster team in G1 was 4 people. They gave us pairs for War for Cybertron Siege. So on the right, this pair here, we've got the race car patrol team, and we have Swindler here in the gray DeLorean, who looks really, really nice. And then we have the leader of the team, which is Road Handler here in the red sports car. Kind of looks like a Corvette. Then more Autobot Micromasters, we have Big Shot, I believe is his name. Big Shot here turning into like a tank or a big cannon, but with like a truck front. Kind of interesting looking. I love his colors. And then Big Shot's buddy is Flak. I believe Big Shot's the leader of the battle team, battle patrol, and then Flak is a little missile launcher tank, which looks pretty sweet. Then we have the Decepticon Micromasters. The pair from the Airstrike team that we have are, I believe this is Whisper or Visper. I wonder if it's like supposed to be the accent. And it kind of reminds me of like a fictionalized SR-71, right? And maybe that's just because it's black. And then we also have Stormcloud here. So they've given us 6 Micromasters in Wave 1, half of each of the race car battle and airstrike teams. And then in Wave 2, we know we're getting the rescue patrol, half of them. So I'm hoping we get to finish up the other halves. I know some Micromasters have appeared previously as Legends figures. I know like Blackjack appeared in Combiner Wars, things like that. But let's go ahead and start transforming them. And they are very simple transformations. And that's one of the things I wanted to mention. So in a pack, which is like $9 to $10, you get 2 little Micromasters. And just a real quick size comparison in terms of the amount of plastic. So here's what we're looking at here. And then this is a Legends figure, which came for the same price. Now he is hollow because he can fit a Titan Master in there. But we are talking about kind of a significant reduction in the toy you get, I feel like, for the money you're spending. But so if we're starting out with Road Handler, the transformation is pretty simple. You flip his hood up, pop out his little arms, and then untuck his feet. And there we've got Road Handler, and he does look great. I mean, they definitely did pick them out with some nice paint besides the alt-mode painted windshields and black accents. We do have some nice silver here. His face is picked out in blue. So he doesn't look bad. There's Road Handler. Let me see if I can get him to stand up. They are a little backpack heavy, especially the cars. There we go. And then Swindler next. He gives me a little bit of trouble. His shoulders are a little awkward. But if you get the shoulders out from around the hood, you can flip his hood back and then it comes down, and also flip out his knees and get his arms out. And again, the shoulders kind of prevent you from doing much. A little less paint on him. The tiny little head is picked out in yellow, which is appreciated. But I think out of the 2, Road Handler definitely looks better. Then onto the Battle Patrol, we've got Big Shot here, and I think he's... So the transformation on the race car guys is not as interesting. On the Battle Patrol guys, it gets more interesting, but... at least for Big Shot for me, I've had a big problem with getting his hips to stay in as I transform him. So the legs come out and the back of the truck kind of folds in to make little heel spurs. And then his shoulders do descend, which I kind of wish Swindler did, because now it does give him a lot more range of motion. And his cannon part can go behind him, but the top of his head, that part doesn't really go anywhere. So there we've got Big Shot, and again, really love the paint that he gets. Let's see if he can stand up. Yep. And then Flak is a nice simple transformation. The missile pods are his legs. Fold those down. Come in, fold his little front of the vehicle behind him. And then you got to come in with your fingernail and flip his head out. And he's got nice ball jointed shoulders, so he can kind of pose wherever you want. And again, I wish that he got some more paint on his chest. So it seems like each pair, the leader of the pair kind of gets more paint than the buddy. Then we've got the Decepticon Micromasters, which are my favorite. So these ones feel like they're definitely worth the money. If you were curious about them and you want to pick them up, pick up the Airstrike Patrol. So Visper, you come in first. Well, we can do that last, actually. You come in at the bottom and you separate his feet from underneath the plane. And as you saw, they kind of folded up to form the underside of the plane. They disguise themselves pretty well. Fold out his toes, come in behind and fold up that section of the plane. And then you can, it's on like a Z double joint. You can fold it out and then bring it up behind him. Take the wings and fold those behind him. And then fold his head all the way around. And there is Visper, and he looks terrific. And like I said, like that transformation was, I felt, way more involved than the Autobot Micromasters so far. And then Storm Cloud's the last one. And I love him, the way his arms work. So these engines on the back of the wing are actually arms. They fold out. You can come in from behind, pop out. Oop. His legs, his hips also do pop out just because they're on such small joints. Let's see if we can pop him back in. Pop out the leg. Turn it 90. Come in behind on the nose cone. Fold that up behind him. Bring the legs down. And there we've got Stormcloud in his robot mode. And again, his face is nice and picked out. For the Decepticon guys, like he's got some nice silver apps, but I do wish they had more paint on their chests. And there we have the Micromasters in their robot modes. And now that we do have them in their robot modes, kind of, to me, that price point kind of sneaks up on me again. So like I said, they were about $10. Comparing that to the previous line of $10 figures, we've got Titan's Return Bumblebee here with a custom head that I put on him. And, you know, now that he's collapsed a little bit, maybe the argument can be made that, oh, you know, he's a little closer in size to two of them stacked up on each other. But to me, it still seems like these shouldn't have been $10 toys. They should have been a little cheaper. If I'm making comparisons, the one thing that springs to mind to me instead of, you know, the $10 Legends line, what strikes me is actually the Power of the Prime's previous line of Prime Masters. And I know we have like Battle Masters or some sort of weaponized toy robot in this line for the same price as the Prime Masters. But to me, like these two guys, right? And they are a little back heavy. Oh, lovely. I'm not as happy with the Race Car Patrol. But these two guys, like to me, it seems a little closer in line to this guy and then the Prime Master inside. And these turn into a weapon and this guy turns into a weapon. The other one I can think of is, besides the Prime Masters, which I even thought was a little pricey for what they offered, the Titan Masters, which Flywheels is holding his own Titan Master on. You know, you got the robot, you got two vehicle modes, you got the little robot guy, and you got the gun, all for like $6. So I feel like in terms of engineering, maybe it's a material cost, maybe it's the paint they added, that's what drove the price up. I would love to talk to someone at Hasbro and kind of get an understanding for why this was a particular price point and then why the Battle Master guys were the cheaper price point. To me, it almost feels flipped. I haven't gotten the Battle Masters in hand. Maybe once I do, it'll make more sense to me. But yeah, as of right now, it's a little tough for me to understand where exactly they go. But yeah, so like I said, besides the cute little robot modes, which I love, I do wish they got a little more paint, at least 4 of them, you know. Swindler, Flak, and then the Decepticons, I think all deserve a little more paint. They do, just like the Power Masters and the Titan Masters, they do have a weapon mode. So for the race car guys, you basically turn them back into car mode, just with their legs sticking out. And here we have little ports for weapon effects. And this is one thing that I wish maybe at a $10 price point I would have been a little happier if they had included it. I've gotten deluxes and I've gotten the, let me get his little handle out. I've gotten the Micromasters. I wish one of these size classes included the weapon effects that they've been showing off. I feel like, especially for the Micromasters, turn him back into his car mode, basically. Get that handle out. For the Micromasters, where they turn into weapons that are meant to utilize those weapon ports, it would have been nice to see... come on. Click in. There we go. It would have been nice to see some included clear weapon effect pieces. And then for these guys, they plug into each other. I believe I want to turn his legs, Road Handler's legs upside down. And then the handle on Swindler plugs into Road Handler's chest, or you could do it the other way around. And then you've got this handle. So this is a gun, and we can bring in... let's bring in Generations or Classics Blue Streak. Oh. Let's see if he can hold. Car holding some cars. Man, and that handle, I wonder if it's a little big for that hand or what, but it is struggling to get in that peg hole. There we go. Straighten it all out. And like I said, this to me is one of the least impressive. It just looks like two cars on top of each other. Maybe it would look cooler with all four barrels blazing, but there we have the size that you can kind of see compared to a deluxe figure holding it. And again, that reminds me of, like, we had Combiner Wars Bombshell. He turns into a gun himself. It's a much bigger gun. This is, you know, the size, well, maybe not that much bigger actually when they're combined. But he's meant to be held by a combiner, or you could have a deluxe or other figure hold it. But yeah, so that is the Race Car Patrol. Stick them back here. Then we've got the Battle Patrol, and again, this is kind of an ascending order of happiness. I kind of like the way these guys work. So I believe, let me remember exactly why they plug into each other. They transform partially. I believe that becomes a handle. And then he transforms partially. Maybe this comes up and this slides. Oh, flip this around so that this port can take this peg, and then their arms kind of link up. There we go. And actually, let me double check off camera, make sure I did that right. Okay, so I did almost get it right, though. The problem was that these parts of his Big Shot's shoulders need to get into these ports on flak. And I tend to, with my thumbs, want to crush it. There we go. So this is another weapon. We've got like kind of a bazooka launcher here, which interestingly enough does not have, unless those ports work. I guess the main ports will work as the effect ports. But again, comparing it to other figures, like, it's okay. I do like this weapon more than the cars, that's for sure. And the handle seems easier to plug in also. There we go. Doesn't exactly stay together 100%. But there we've got another deluxe holding a weapon. And the last one, which again, to me, I think these guys are by far the best. If you want to pick them up, pick up the Airstrike Patrol and see how you like him. So we transform, basically we transform Visper back into plane mode. I think we actually transform him all the way back into plane mode. We want to flip his head to get this, I guess it's like plain exhaust in alt mode back out. So he's just in plain mode. And then Storm Cloud stays, oh, let me remember how this one works. I think he stays mostly in his mode because he has this peg. We're just going to take the feet and fold them up. Oh, and that hip loves to pop out. Put his arms back where they are in alt mode. Get the feet around. Get them plugged into his wings. But now this port on the back of his plane mode can plug into Visper, and the engines sit behind the wings, and everything locks up, and now we've got a pretty sweet looking sword. Definitely reminds me of the Energon Sky Saber type of deal. And we've got Battletrap right here, who is more than happy to wield it. Or actually, Battletrap's little piece won't let him wield it. Well, that's okay. Bumblebee will wield it. There we go. Oop. Almost. There we go. That actually... So yeah, these guys, the Airstrike Patrol is definitely my favorites. But that is the Wave 1 Micromaster. So like I said, I'm not totally sold on them for $10. It's the sort of price point where even though I don't love them all 100%, I can easily see myself picking up every wave completely, no problem. Same with the weaponizers. We'll see how those turn out. I'm feeling for like $6, I'll be happier with those in general. But I highly recommend the Airstrike Patrol. If you want to go complete online, I mean, it'll probably cost you $60 total, depending on how many teams they come out with. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and you probably already picked them up. If you haven't, definitely check out the Airstrike Patrol, and I will catch you guys on the next episode. Have a good day, everyone.